welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's Dynamite, Maximum Carnage. Thoughts?
I feel like I had a problem with everything. I will say, this goddamn building was everything I wanted and more. It looked magnificent. It was filmed beautifully. Instantly, I just residency. And they're not going to do a residency. In absolute minimum, when they're going through like the touring loop, and I know there's logistics involved, and they can't just do a little thing of our favorite venues. It's got to be, we'll have to go here, and then we can't run that market dry. At a minimum, this should be one of their recurring venues, like the Lick Your Ass Center and the like. Instantly do this, run this twice a year at least, because you're not really needing to sell that many tickets, and yet it just felt a lie. I thought, if this was a really good Dynamite, this crowd would have been amazing. They were really good for a lot of it. Yeah, it's that feeling of, I want desperately like this again. And this is close to being something, but I'm just getting deprived by some odd decision here, some wild performance there, some stuff here. I'm just like, you're never going to learn. You are never going to learn. When are you going to get it? Do you know what I mean? There's certain, it's like, because they're the listening company, and because they've been capable of scaling such heights, it's always that expectation of, oh, when are you going to get it? There's certain times when I once described, and I'll let you talk in a second, 2019, and I know you hate this, and I'm sorry, and I don't like being this crude. I described 2019 as the Winnets era of WWE, where there was so much new shit that stunk to talk about that week that you always forgot about the little Winnets, which for our American listeners and viewers, you call them dangleberries. There's a little, if you don't,
little guy up there.
There's a little guy up there. Like, if you don't wash your ass, which you should, you're gonna get Winnets, okay? Dangleberries, and because they're just there, and they're just like, just these there's various like tropes or booking tropes, or just stupid things that they do, have now become so crusted into the program that you just resign to them being there, and there's new things to complain about, Like this, we need the entrance music to give the fans the pop at the total expense of a babyface looking like a babyface, as in the main event post-match. Rubbish, but there was some stuff to like here. I'm not going to be too miserable. There's some stuff to like, and I just wish I had a better time because this thing looked gorgeous.
Yeah, like it was a fine show, wasn't it? Like the third in a row. Dynamite, 2025. It's just
what I like.
There's been 3 decent episodes. Like it was a bit. Started to feel a little bit like clag in the middle. I burped it through, got on, completed it. It's like,
do the listeners know about this?
I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
Okay.
But yeah, you're eating too much food and you goes all pop. You do a big burp. You've cleared the space. You finish the takeaway. I'm sure I don't need to explain it to anybody. Everybody understands burping it through. But it's the universal experience of gorging. It's not the main event stuff continues to be the biggest problem, not just because it's in the main event, but because it has to take up so much space, or it has to, it commands focus. It's the main event. I understand that. But it also kind of shakes your faith in a decent show or a fine show because you can't get away from it. When it was at its peak and the kind of gag was, oh yeah, but there's got to be a bit of Matt Hardy. Like, that was never the main event.
Yes.
It was always like the thing you didn't like was this sort of like annoying interruption in the middle. Like, if the main event was good right now, the annoying interruption in the middle would be Chris Jericho.
And that's only a minute.
It is only a minute. And the quality wouldn't be anywhere near as high in the good stuff. The peaks might not be as high, but there would still be a lot of good stuff. And often when a show is recovering or when there's a new creative direction that you like, it takes a long time and it kind of has to just be fine before it can be great. So I'm kind of holding on to the optimism that because it's just fine, because it's decent, that's enough right now. And there's like way, way brighter days ahead. But it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It really doesn't. So you might have to go through a lot of it being fine, but better fine than disastrous. And it hasn't been like a disastrous Dynamite this year. So broadly positive.
Well, let's get into it. We open up in the Andrew J. Brady Music Center, looking awesome. Taz is back on commentary as well. More on him in a little while. Need your help with something in the show, Sidge. But we began with Kenny Omega's in-ring return against Brian Cage, his first match on Dynamite since November of 2023. Don Callis on commentary saying, hey, I just wanted to congratulate him on being back. And he's the one who started on me, actually. Lance Archer's out there as well. Obviously, huge reaction for Kenny. He fires off some chops. Brian Cage goes, Omega tries to power Cage up, but Cage curls Omega and hits a fall-away slam. Pop-up powerbomb. Goes for another, but Omega counters in with a Hurricane Rana to the floor. Teases the Terminator dive, but Lance Archer runs distraction, which allows Cage to take Omega out with a huge lariat. He chucked him into the barricade. He press-slammed him abdomen first into the announce table, and Cage takes the ref so Archer and Callis can get some boots in as we go to a break. When we come back, Cage hits that awesome suplex from the apron back inside for 2. I love the venue, like you say, and especially the fact that the ramp's level with the ring so they can do stuff onto that. There's a lot of that throughout the show. There's a bit with Omega attempting a Hurricane Rana, but Cage powerbombing back inside to the ring for a 2 count. Cage also got a knees up as Omega fought back and went for a moonsault. Cage gets the knees up, sit out, pump handle gets 2, goes up top, but he gets cut off. There's a springboard sunset bomb from Kenny Omega, and a V-trigger gets a 2 count. And then Omega floats over a German suplex, ducks a discus lariat, hits a pump knee, V-trigger, and eventually, get up there, you big bastard. One winged angel gets the 1, 2, 3.
I expected to spam.
Oh my god.
This time yesterday, I expected to spam that button. If I'm being completely brutally honest, and I should be, it's Kenny Omega. I hold him to an even higher standard than I do AEW. I didn't really feel it once. This was good, not great. And I realized that I didn't really feel an awful lot for it. And like Hamflett's thing, I was thinking about the things that I wanted to like, or I was quite impressed by without ever feeling I'm watching a Kenny Omega match here. It was a bit wobbly at the start. I don't know if that informed anything. I just expected a bit more spark, a bit more creativity. What I loved about this match, actually the one thing where I thought, that's great, is the spot you mentioned in your recap of the powerbomb from the ramp into the ring. If you did that in the ring, and it's just a release powerbomb, it still looks great, but that weird magic trick of you're doing it on the same level, but it just looks better for some weird reason. It's a good work, ultimately a good bit of work, that. So I enjoyed that. I thought Kenny's selling was really, really strong early, to the point where what I love about Kenny Omega is that nothing feels obligatory. He will do the checklist all wrestlers do of how to build a great epic match. He's just better at it than most people. But with him, it never feels like a checklist, and that's the difference. Like, when he's doing his selling, it shouldn't feel like, right, okay, well, this is the heat, and he's going to do the cutoff soon. It feels like, because he's Kenny Omega, and he's a level above everyone, and he was great, at least at this last night, of he's never going to stop selling because he's done for. But it's never overwrought, you know? It just feels like the phases are so earned every time he goes through them. So when he was selling early, and there was quite a lot of it for what was ultimately a brisk TV match, I was really starting to slowly get that excitement, and then it just kind of went through the motions and then ended in a really anti-climactic way. I did think when I watched it at the end, when it was done, I was like, that was quite abrupt, really. Almost deflating. At least it didn't feel like he was in the absolute fight of his life. It felt like he'd had a tough little test for his first match from injury, but then he kind of just did it in a businessman-like fashion, no, like, it hurt. It's tough. It's Brian Cage, but he wasn't really histrionic with it. He just passed a tough early test, and now he's set in motion on the comeback. I still want a lot more juice in that closing stretch. I just didn't really feel a great deal for it, if I'm being completely honest.
What hit me in this match was because we'll get to the post match in a second, but we talked about this in the preview and pretty much just straight away when he came back. The matchmaking of, let's just be optimistic, Omega and Ospreay versus Fletcher and Takeshita for Grand Slam, right? Fletcher's Australian. Ospreay likes working Australia. That's a really, really great match potentially for that kind of show that needs something special feeling alongside the Tony Storm.
I told you Omega would be in his zone, by the way.
Yeah.
And now he's in his zone.
Well, yeah. That's good matchmaking. I already think this is bad booking, and I think both those things can be true. I would absolutely book that match for that show, and kind of a bit of yet another coming out party for Kenny Omega's return, and him and Ospreay being together makes me feel something. There's a real sort of like crackle in the air when those two are together as partners and potential enemies once again. I don't think this is good booking, and I think this drastically impacted the quality of this match. You felt it last week that you couldn't deny it. We're all really excited to see Kenny Omega come back, and then Callis walks on the stage and there's a little bit, oh no, but you get it because you're seeing the matchmaking, you're seeing the Grand Slam match ahead. This match for me lacked the opportunity to tell a more interesting story because it was Brian Cage, because it was the Don Callis family. There was always this sense of scream, boss, get him. If it was just another wrestler who had the opportunity to make a name for themselves against returning Kenny Omega that kind of gradually got worked into going for the stomach. I don't know. Somebody on the roster who's like not going anywhere fast at the moment, but has suddenly been given this, there's 100 of them, been given this opportunity to fight Kenny Omega, and Omega's like, it's almost like a gentleman's contest at the beginning. Yep, I want a return match. I think I'll beat you. He's Kenny Omega. I think I'll beat you. Like, I'm not sure I would have hired you or the other 80% of you and your friends. I think I'll beat you. And then over the course of the match, babyface or heel, it kind of doesn't matter. Maybe they shake hands at the beginning. It starts off as a wrestling match and Kenny's looking good and Kenny's feeling fresh and he's back. And the diverticulitis is in there, but he's back and he's fresh. And then the opponent goes, all right then. And it's a little rabbit punch and straight away Kenny sells. And then there's the weakness. And then they explore that little story, but it's not enough because it's Kenny by God Omega and he gets the win and that sort of thing. I think that's a far more interesting story than get him, boss. And we're already in it. And it's the Kenny Omega zone. And it's not even the Kenny Omega zone. He's in the Don Callis zone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even feel like the Kenny Omega zone. And it just like pecks away slightly at the excitement and the vibe and the aura of Kenny Omega because you've walked into the Don Callis zone. And it's when he stood next to Ospreay that it feels like the Kenny Omega zone.
Yes.
Because that's bigger than all of this. And that really struck me in this because straight away Cage could go
right into Omega zone.
Straight away, you were dialed in on Cage being part of the baddies trying to get Kenny, and Kenny just basically trying to deal with a bigger man. That was the only real stuff, like quite simplistic and maybe too simplistic. Kenny Omega's better than all of that, and I don't think the match ever felt like it truly like gave us that Kenny Omega return feeling like it might have done had it been something on a little island to itself.
His execution wasn't amazing in this match either.
Yeah, post-match.
I loved the One-Winged Angel. I loved it.
Oh,
the rope
struggle with him. Yeah, absolutely.
They were obviously working.
That's his go-to way of
that, but I like that.
The odd flubbed V-trigger, like a little bit of a slip at the start. It's one of those where you'd have a little bit of, a lot of latitude considering what he came back from.
Yeah.
The Gabe Kidd thing happened?
Yeah.
Unrelated to Kenny. Yeah, it is unrelated to Kenny. What am I saying? It was a bit distracting every time Brian Cage meant to work the hard camera and didn't work the hard camera, because it was above the ramp. He was like doing stuff to the wrong side because you're so used to it, and you were like, that was that. It's not anyone's fault, is it? But it's like, you took me out of it there because it's that little reminder it's a show, and it's like, do it this way. It's above the stage. Like the
post-match, though, Lance Archer and Cole Fletcher hit the ring, attack his midsection, obviously. Will Ospreay runs down to make the save, though, just like last week. He flips out of an Archer choke slam. Enziguri, there's a V-trigger from Omega. Ospreay hits a hidden blade, and they have some words until Ospreay's like, out of the way, Kenny, and takes out Cole Fletcher with a dive. And then Takeshita comes out, and he walks down there and brawls with Kenny Omega. Fletcher and Ospreay are fighting. And in the end, They lay out Ospreay and Omega, do Fletcher and Takeshita with a brainbuster and a raging fire, and the Don Callis family stand tall.
I'm really into this. Like, Out of the Way Kenny is some excellent AEW visual storytelling, because Will Ospreay feels like he's saying that with his performances as much as he's literally within a beatdown segment. That's the story of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega at this point, as it should be. And that's when I talk about like that, like little sort of crackle of excitement, that's the Kenny Omega zone, because that's the real quiz with Kenny Omega. Has this guy has he surpassed me now in this spot? Is he the best bout machine? Like, so that's way more interesting. And I'm not trying to reduce Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita to foil for these two, but they sort of are, because there's just more interesting stories with Kenny Omega's last big run. It's not dissimilar from the shoot conversations we were having about Swerve and Ospreay when Swerve was the champion and Ospreay first arrived, which led to their match about this idea of like, it's like for Swerve, it was like, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and Ospreay was the man. Yeah. Kenny's now in that spot, and I think there's some really cool stuff to explore with those two. Yeah.
Then we get a Hurt Syndicate promo. For the first time in 2.5 years, MVP's taking off his suit, getting back in the ring. They're just hanging out at a bar where apparently MVP keeps his boots, I think. But he cheers us with Shelton Benjamin. They remind us they're the Hurt Syndicate, and they hurt people. They sure did later on.
Yeah.
Then it was time for the New York Minute with Chris Jericho. Calling Cincinnati the Bluegrass State. I think that's Kentucky.
That's good humour, Chris.
He talks about the upcoming 12-man on AEW Collision, which Brian Keith reminds us is a dozen, mother flipper. He calls Copa dope. Harwood's no good. And then they're like, got one for Cash Wheeler? He's a kneeler. Because he'll kneel.
Absolutely atrocious. And I don't care how bad it was meant to be.
Big Bill liked it. Sick burn, Chris, he says.
It's absolutely pathetic.
And Jericho promises.
Stealing a living.
He's stealing a little.
Stealing from little. Anything.
And he promises.
Chris Jericho's props from the middle aisle. He just finds something every week and brings it to TV. Look what I got, Tony. Got a garden strimmer. I'm the strimmer. Chris Jericho. Tribute.
That's probably part if he did that.
The Learning Tree and Death Riders are going to be on the same page on Saturday, Thursday.
The idea that they're even entertaining the idea that they would be stinks before they actually, like, there's tension there.
Like Taz saying it made him sad to be a New Yorker, that.
After this segment, genuine question here. Considering how the main event played out, and we'll get to it, but this segment in particular, and all the boot off that tweet caused on Monday, what would have been the harm in promoting this match after Dynamite? Like doing a graphic drop today for the walk-ups, for the last ticket sales.
I think because they were trying to sell for Thursday. I think.
So was it just a misfire thinking that this match would sell some tickets? Like, people know they're going to AEW Collision. People know that, I know it's the usual problem with AEW that the roster's too
for me, like, loose, and you're way better off. They've just cut Hobbs' balls off by basically telling him he's not winning because, look, we've got this match. Stop. Yeah, you're better off just looking after your product, doing good things, and then the people will buy the tickets.
Yeah. If Dynamite's good, some people might return the next night because they enjoyed AEW. Yeah. And then you've said, like, as the show's going off the air, like, join us tomorrow. Hopefully Hobbs can get his revenge. He's going to team with again. And then people aren't going to really care that the Learning Tree teaming with. There's not going to be a boot off. It's just going to be a bunch of people that decide to buy tickets for it or a bunch that don't. Yeah. It's poor promotion.
You said this yourself when we talked about it on the Collision review. It's a problem that AEW consistently has of just like, are you looking forward to that match? Here's the result because here's what's coming afterwards.
Yeah, to win it. They've signposted.
A New York win it.
A New York win it. They've either signposted everything forever, man.
Justin Roberts knows exactly what he's doing next. Show us your love for Ricochet. Boo! He comes out with the scissors in his suit and he gets booed so much so that he doesn't talk for ages and he gives up and just says, you know what? A picture's worth 1,000 words, and he shows the image of the attack on Swerve Strickland. And we're staring at that screen when whose house? Swerve's house hits. And Prince Nana sneaks in from behind and nails Ricochet with a chair. Little dance. Out comes Swerve with a chain. He tries to attack Ricochet, who just bails out of there. And Swerve sort of stalks him down. And Ricochet's like, throws security at Swerve and gets out of there into the snow before Swerve can get his hands on him.
Had a fine time with this. It was exactly how it needed to go. They're continuing to get Ricochet over. Swerve is so great at portraying himself as a badass. He's just amazing. This was very neat and tidy, hardly ambitious, but I had a great time with it. If it's snowing outside, shoot a heat angle and make someone bleed.
Yeah.
I just want to see the blood on the snow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
They should do a post-Dynamite thing where Moxley collapses afterwards and you just see
Yeah.
your blood left out in
That might have actually already been filmed.
Yeah.
Moxley loves a bloodied post-match thing. Remember the one against Hangman Page? When he was out on the stairwell and his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, he was the best.
there.
He was the best.
I like this. This was the babyface. I know Arn Anderson stole it from somewhere. I forget where. The babyface horseman thing. Like, do you realise who you're dealing with? Like, you send one of ours to the hospital, we'll send one of yours to the morgue.
The Untouchables.
Like, the Untouchables, thank you, yeah. Ricochet didn't know that about Swerve Strickland, does now. That completely protects the integrity of the Swerve Strickland character. And, like, again, feels like the door is back open for Ricochet and the Hurt Syndicate, considering the sequencing on this show. And great.
Yeah.
Because they should definitely be together.
Yeah. This is not, this Ricochet stuff's the strongest thing in AEW.
Wow. Looks like we made it.
Looks like we made it.
Then we hear from Mercedes.
Money.
It's time for a day in the life of the CEO. I woke up, got out of bed. First they make money, then they shop, and they train. Whoever's out for a titles. Let's go. Money changes everything.
I tell you what, a little tiny snapshot into the life of CEO. Vast improvement upon her in a terribly lit backstage area, pretending she's having this like really sort of expensive, lavish VIP party.
Yeah.
Made her feel like a little bit of a star, you know?
Love this. Rather foul belts and foul balloons.
Yeah,
she's walking around with 4 belts and expensive. That's cool.
And talk shows and things like that.
Buying loads of expensive stuff.
It's a good use of TV time for Mercedes money.
And then we got that match.
They're being economical with their money.
Very good.
That's very good.
It's all good stuff.
Semantic field was cash.
Syndicate, that's Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin MVP versus Mark Briscoe and the AEW Tag Team Champions, Private Party, in their first match on Dynamite since they won the tag titles in October.
It's absolutely pathetic. It's criminal.
They're about to try again with a different tag team, so you kind of just have to, and you're watching this as evidence of it, and you just kind of have to accept
Starting again from now.
From now. Yeah, now.
Yeah, Hurt Syndicate just like kill him straight away at the bell. MVP and Mark Briscoe go at it in the ring. Zay and Gwen getting beaten down on the outside. There's some redneck kung fu, but MVP gets Benjamin in there, who chucks him around apron barricade spots. Didn't go to commercial. We come back. MVP's running the game. Facebuster. Ballin'! Good to see that again. Briscoe
Takes me back to the years in WWE where I liked 3 things. And that was one of them.
Briscoe ducks a clothesline.
Don't ask me the other 2.
Back elbow with
2006.
The Undertaker's work rate run. Ballin'!
2006, 2007,
Must be
are we
something
talking?
else I like. There must be.
2006.
Sean, I was kind of like Sean could still gear. Thank God we've got.
Yeah, when he was in DX, though, 2006.
Oh God, not 2006. I was thinking 2007 because the game got injured, and it was like, oh, we got single Sean back. He's kind of an asshole, the giant.
Yeah.
Cena. I like Cena a lot in 2007. There we go.
Carly.
Carly is 5 things. Whew.
we got there.
We did 5 things I liked. Yeah, the MVP Matt Hardy thing was really good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Having the pizza eating. He needed to burp it through.
Yeah.
I bet you Matt Hardy burps it through.
Sure.
Was them H's.
Sure it does.
Zay gets the hot tag, runs wild. Quen comes in. There's some
Does he?
double drop kicks, and they hold the ropes open for a big dive from Mark Briscoe onto Lashley. MVP and Zay tumble to the outside. Quen hits Benjamin with a flatliner for 2. And Lashley just lobs Briscoe, big overhead belly to belly. There's a poetry in motion on Benjamin from Private Party, and then Lashley's like, I've had enough of this. Spine buster to Quen, hits Zay with a spear. MVP hits a knee on Mark Briscoe ringside as Benjamin hits a super kick on Mark Quen and gets the 1-2-3.
Here's the thing, right? I talked around it. You kind of knew, if you remember, what I was getting at the time. Those 2 Young Bucks matches with Private Party, look at the layout. Have you ever seen Private Party work a match with that layout, with that level of drama, with that sort of crowd investment, in a match in which the Young Bucks aren't in? No, you haven't, because those matches don't exist. The Young Bucks are almost too good. they are almost too good at like scaffolding a match. They're almost too good at crowd psychology and knowing how to get them and when to get them and how to just build and build and build and build and build. The booking has done Private Party no favors whatsoever. They were doing jobs to MXM Collection 2 months before that speed run, and then the first match was so successful that I thought, right, well, no one else is over. Might as well try and give it a Private Party. So it all felt a bit, might as well. So it's not as if they've been tended to or like well promoted, and this is a wrestling promotion, but my God, individual performance level, it's just not there. Like, this is actively sloppy jalopy and poor at points. The best thing in this match was Mark Briscoe's dive onto Lashley, where he kind of like Darby Allin style bounced off him. Just looked like a missile, like laser focused on its target. Whenever Private Party had to do anything except get monstered, they looked pretty bad.
Yeah. The Hurt Syndicate have found a dream punching bag in Mark Briscoe, and that's pretty beneficial because one day down the line he might find somebody to go at them with. But right now he's being used as this guy to really help get them over, and he is. Mark Briscoe's got credit in the bank with people, and they've kicked the out of him for 2 straight weeks. Like, it's AEW, so you'd like to think down the line he recovers that when they've got gold and when they've got pedigree, and he got, maybe not, but he's somebody that you can always go with. So he's like a good baby face when the time comes to them maybe losing some titles or whatever. But so that's been super effective. Good use of him for their benefit. This was like, it was a little bit don't work me bro with the agent in here, because it was like they were trying to be sneaky, but it was just very obvious what was happening, wasn't it? Like, MVP's getting a TV time. Shelton got the win. Maybe they're all of equal strength. It's like, I know what's happening. But like, I see completely why they did it. There was just no... I kind of like this in a way. There was zero thought, real life I'm talking now, by the Hurt Syndicate to help and assist Private Party. It was just, we are better and we are taking these titles. Yeah. Try again. Keep up. Like, we're more over. We're more believable. We're more credible. Like, backstage, I don't imagine there was any point where somebody went, well, we've got to give them that. No. We're kicking your ass. And at no point is that. And that's good, because that's conviction. That's booking with conviction. They're the overact right now. They're the hot hand. It's a good move to, we've already said, for the million reasons why it's good to crown them as tag champions for the benefit of the tag division and AEW. Keeps Bobby Lashley out of the title picture, which is always helpful. So yeah, get it done now. Get it done.
Private Party are the AEW Tag Team Champions, and I don't know whether I should feel sorry for them or not. That is pathetic.
It's time to play the game!
Okay.
Time to play the game! Ha ha ha
I haven't really got a catchy title for this, but credit to MVP. First time in, 2.5 years, he said, he's back in the ring. I mean, he did work Bloodsport.
He did work it.
He did a show against Wrecking Ball Legursky at the end of last year. But on Raw, who was his last opponents?
2.5 years.
18th of July, 2022, according to Cage Match.
2022.
He did Josh Barnett in November of last year in Bloodsport, and then, Wrecking Ball Legursky. But prior to that, July of 2022.
What date, sorry?
18th of July.
Did he team with Omos?
Oh, hang on, there's a button for this.
Bingo! Against...
So they were heels.
Yeah, not Bobby Lashley.
No, dear, that's
It
wrong.
was Dunzo, wasn't it? Bobby Lashley was posing on podiums against Austin Theory around that time.
God, Jesus Christ.
He did work Saturday night's main event, not the televised one.
Sure, yeah.
And Sunday Stunner a few weeks before that.
So MVP and Moss.
You're talking
versus...
like maybe the last weeks of Vince, maybe even the last episodes of the Vince era. 18th of July.
Was Rey Mysterio in it?
No.
Street Profits.
Street Profits beat MVP and Omos by DQ in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. A month prior to that, MVP beat Cedric Alexander in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
I mean,
Good to see him back in the ring.
yeah, it's got no better for the Street Profits ever since.
No.
They had the SummerSlam match with Jeff Jarrett as a guest referee. And that. And they've never, still no push for coming nearly 3 years later. Fix that.
We live in hope.
I don't.
We find
I
out.
mean, I like them, but there's no hope.
I've still got a bit of hope for them.
That's because you're a cockeyed optimist.
Thank you. We hear about some future matches coming up. Cope versus Pac is next Wednesday, and we see a video package on his twins.
Don't need Cope to be packed, to be honest. Not what I signed up for.
It's happening.
Oh, I know that.
It's a winner, a Deke. They're going to ring the bell for a Deke, or it's a Cope win.
And Swerve versus Ricochet is going down in 3 weeks' time on Dynamite.
Keep building it, goddammit. The danger. I'm ready to see the match, and the characters are ready to fight it, right? But I mean, it's hard. You can't top the scissors angle, but at least do like proper face-to-face so before. Just keep reminding me that these wrestlers, not that I need, I'm too stupid to realize, well, 3 weeks away, when's that? You know what I mean? Like, I know it's 3 weeks, but I want the characters to want it.
Yeah.
Keep building it. Keep building this.
Like, praise when it's deserved. This has been a pattern of late, that they're doing TV fooheads, then they're giving you a destination, and yes, that creates an almost artificial sense of what we're going to do this week to hate each other. But that's kind of the reality of like this never-ending churn of wrestling. AEW should have been doing this a long time ago. You want to be weeks out when the roster is so big, having a rough idea of what you're getting. All of this Dynamite was good to go. Yeah. Like they were badly lacking in that giant graphic of 100 wrestlers on the screen, and I'll always go back to this. We didn't get Kenny at Dynamite, and we were sat in that frigging building 24 hours by the end, and it's just this whole roster bunch of people. Where's this guy? Where's this guy? Well, we never said he was coming.
Yeah.
Like, we did say that Adam Cole was going to ring Sabu, but we never promised Kenny Omega. Like, that was becoming a problem.
Yeah.
This sells tickets. Or if it doesn't, you learn who doesn't sell tickets. They're going to advertise the Hurt Syndicate and Private Party any week now for the tag belts.
Yes.
And it's going to be like, right, come this week because you're going to get that.
Right, Slapnuts, it's Jeff Jarrett time. Brewu hits, he comes down, says the last few weeks have been humbling, and then immediately gets interrupted by MJF, cut my music. Throws his gum into the crowd.
Oh my God.
Lucky fan taking that home. He says...
He's not going to shag you, mate.
He just wished you with the gum.
I wish I had the gum. But it's delicious. What do you reckon he is, like a Hubba Bubba guy or a Juicy Fruit?
There are more. I'm an Airwaves dude.
Yeah?
I like it. What's your favourite flavour of Airwaves? I like the strawberry ones.
I don't like cherry. I don't like
cherry. Sorry, cherry.
I don't like strawberry flavored anything.
Really?
But I like strawberries. I find strawberry flavored confectionery to be far too sweet. I love sweets, fizzy candy for our friends in America. We call them sweets over here. I love a fizzy sweet, like a mix-up. It's the best. I'm actually quite hands-off with them because I could just eat them every single day. My only sweet icks, really, are strawberry-flavored confectionery and...
Those horrible flying saucers.
I don't like them, actually.
Tastes like
don't like
paper.
them.
Those like...
Not what I'm thinking, though. Good, not right.
Those like... The texture just... Oh, it does something to me. Those like... Sort of quite solid banana-y ones where like the texture's quite powdery when you bite into it. And it's
Don't
neither,
hate them.
It's neither flump nor jelly.
I would
It's like
never put it in my own big bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd eat
Stumble
it.
across
Sour?
it.
Any sours?
I love sour stuff.
Okay. Man after my own heart there.
Sour stuff.
Well, they're thinking of this, Sidge. Does your strawberry thing include like jelly strawberries? You know, like the
Straubs.
Ooh, I love a straw.
they are pretty good.
Hate anything
Love the
strawberry
word straub for a
flavored.
rubbish
them.
wrestler as well. Straub.
I actually like a real strawberry's decent, but anything strawberry flavored, just that specific artificial.
Not strawberry milkshake.
Hate. The answer is a white mice.
You don't like
yeah.
white mice? Oh.
Just white chocolate, isn't it? Just quite solid white chocolate.
No. It's like a milky bar. It's quite nice. A white mice. It's just too sweet.
Where are you at with what are those ones called with the gimmicks on the top? Jazzies. You know where they put the little
Hundreds and thousands.
the little
I know what you mean.
thousands on the
Love them.
top of the white buttons.
Oh, I hate them.
Yeah.
Hate them.
I don't like licorice all sorts.
I do.
Brackets general, really. Like, you're reaching in, it's like there's not really anyone that I'd choose to have as part
I
of
don't
that.
know. No. I think Dolly mixture as well.
Same, yeah.
I don't think I like sweets.
Not in a
I think I just like fizzy cola bottles. And the bubble gums. Oh, fizzy bubblegum bottles.
Used to love Hubba Bubba as a kid. Like atomic apple and wild cherry flavour. Hubba Bubba. Oh my God.
Anyway, MJF.
I say as a kid, I'm allowed to buy it as an adult. It just feels weird.
Not for me. I like
some
it.
Hubba Bubba, please.
It's cool to the little self-serve.
That's right.
No one can see what you buy at the self-serve.
No shame.
I used to.
Buy whatever you want at the self-serve.
I still do.
People at like self-serve of like garages and service stations just buy grot. Putting their grot through the self-serve, and then the little ID thing comes up, like when you're buying booze or whatever. Just check your age there. Buying this.
Just buying this. Just it's my favorite Simpsons jokes. American breast enthusiast. So great.
Yeah, I am regularly to be found punching the cups in the Pick a Mix self-serve at Tesco. As long as you can get the lid on, still
Game
counts.
changer that.
Ref.
Changing from, like, honestly, considering how inflation and multiple recessions has destroyed us all financially forever, that's one of the few wins, isn't it? Like, they're going from the weighed bags to the cups. Like, that's...
You can vacuum pack them with your
I'm going
fist.
to claw a lot of my mortgage back with this cup of sweets.
Going certified turtle on you.
Anyway, MJF.
Do that. There's a Poundland near the cinema here, and like often before going there, I'll take the kids out and get the sweets and
It was
stuff.
closing.
Yeah. And like teaching them the kind of like undignified practice of punching the sweets down, but like following through and being like, kids, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get why yet, but when you're older, you'll be glad that we went through this quite sort of like...
Kids, if you take anything from your dad, it should be these two things. Burp it through and punch it through. Have a good life.
Burp it through and punch those sweets.
MJF
Correct.
says, humbling, you haven't even begun to learn the definition. Last week I gave you the opportunity of a lifetime, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff says, oh, here we go again. Shut up, Max. You were too lazy to enter the gauntlet. You tried to scheme your way in. Never interrupt me again, says Max. Oh, lost my cool a bit there. But look, you know, I'm MJF. I'm salt of the earth. If I retired tomorrow, I'd be in the Hall of Fame because I'm a legend.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
But Jeff, you've got these schmucks fooled, so I'm going to school them. You're only the last outlaw because you're the last thing you see before your favorite wrestling company dies.
Great line.
Terrific.
He calls him the pro wrestling Grim Reaper. He says, oh, thinking of your career makes me want to drink. Oh, sorry, Jeff. I know you're a raging alcoholic. Recovering alcoholic.
Sticking the word raging in front of anything makes it funnier.
Yeah, erection, mainly. I'll
It's
send you...
angry hard on.
I'll send your ass packing back to rehab where you belong. But
Wilbourn's raging stiffy. It just works.
It just works.
Need I say more?
MJF continues by, he's going to send him to rehab. He says, but hey, make sure that sexy MILF of a wife of yours sticks around. Hey, I'm a fan of Karen Jarrett. But I'm salt of the earth. I'm a good guy. When I'm done with her, I'll ship her back to Nashville. So you can know what...
Put her in a box. I'm sorry, that's good humor.
The OVW create the DX, but the Spirit Squad.
I'll ship her back to Nashville so you can know what a generational talent and Olympic gold medalist balls taste like. Even Jarrett pops at that.
I'm not being funny. This started so strongly.
And Jeff,
Jarrett started talking.
Yeah, Jeff is undeterred by all this. He says, oh, Max, everything you've said, I've heard before. Look, I know my best days are behind me. But last year when I entered the Owen Hart tournament, the fans woke me up again, and I'm going to use their passion to get to the world title. I was you before you were you, Max. I've done everything you did before, and I did it better than you. I don't know if you're a dumbass, a scumbag, or just all of the above, but I feel sorry for you. Look, you had a tough upbringing, Max. You were raised by a call girl mother. Your father is apparently an ambulance-chasing lawyer. When your dad knocked your mum up, she still made him pay for that. Shh. He says, the old saying is, we are married to our mummies. And Max's mama is nothing more than a Canadian call girl. And when you were in here tearing it up, you and Will Ospreay, 60 minutes in the ring. Your old lady was doing her own version of that in the back with some wrestlers.
The hell was this, Jeff?
This was so whack, man.
Yeah.
Awful.
Terrible.
No reaction to any of it, was there?
No.
Set them saying your mom.
That's good. That's a funny visual. Massive, innit? Broke her back.
Saddam Singh's raging erect.
You need me, says Jeff Jarrett, because you're drowning in your own at your core, you're still a scared little kid. And like I said last week, you're scared of becoming a one-hit wonder. People are chanting it, obviously. MJF says, I'm nothing like you, Jeff Jarrett. I didn't need my daddy to make me a top guy. I didn't need to start a company to be a top guy. MJF made MJF. We've seen you as King of the Mountain, but what about me? I'm the one to thank for 82,000 fans at Wembley for record-breaking pay-per-view sales and tickets. And I got screwed out of my title and my name, my reputation. Everything was dragged through the mud. I don't want to win the world title. I need to win the world title so I can shove it down all of these people's throats. Instead, I've got to wait in line for Jeff Jarrett. With all due respect, no wrestling fan has ever given a shit about you, says Max.
There's one rule-proving exception.
Yes. But you know what really pisses me off? Slap nuts, says Max. Just because you were best friends with Owen Hart, you think you're owed some sort of grand finale. You might have these schmucks fooled, says Max, but not me. You're a carny, you're a scumsucker, you're riding the coattails of your dead friend. And hey, I guess you don't like it when I bring up Owen. Bam! Jarrett nails MJF and starts beating him up. Security hit the ring, and they pull apart and what have you. Karen Jarrett comes in to try and calm Jeff down, and MJF grabs her and throws her in the direction of Jeff Jarrett before getting out of there. Thoughts on all this?
Say this went 11 minutes. There were 3 minutes, 2 at the beginning, 1 at the end, that were exactly what I wanted from an MJF versus Jeff Jarrett program. Exactly. Maybe a little bit early, but exactly what I wanted. Like vile stuff, getting Karen, they're proper corny workers. It's pretty vile stuff, but it's all voluntary, and it's just great if you like that kind of bit of scummy wrestling heat.
Down in the mud.
Down in the mud. I'm a simple man. Butter in my ass and a lollipop in my mouth. That's just the kind of guy I am. I like the grit, the disgusting. It's a Boogie Nights quote. I don't really like that stuff. I like the grot. You understand? I like pro wrestling. Grot.
Me too.
Sometimes I pretend. Sometimes I get sick of pretending that I don't. You know? I like cheap heat. Butter in my ass.
Memphis, isn't it?
You know what I mean? I just like it. I was born on it, raised on it. It's what the business is. But there's levels to it. I'm meant to think MGF is a prick, and I am a 39-year-old. We're all in our 30s.
We're on our 30s.
Fact.
Time being.
I'm a 39-year-old bloke who willingly watches an outwardly fictional TV show with TV fictional characters, right? I'm allowed to think MGF, who was portraying a character, is an arsehole for the vile things he says. That's just what I like. Jeff Jarrett, he's a baby face. I'm not meant to think he's an arsehole. What on earth was he thinking? Was Jeff Jarrett going for a sort of performative, I don't really think this stuff and none of it happened, but I'm just trying to prove that I can say worse things than you because I've been around the block and you should respect me or whatever. It didn't scan like that to me. It felt like an old dude. How old's Jeff Jarrett?
Does he have
You can look it up. I mean, Hamflett will down and play the game.
Let's say, hang on, what year are we in now? 2025. Like 95. That's now 30. Jesus Christ, it's 30 years ago. So if he was Double J in the mid-90s, he was probably like late 20s.
He's a prodigy, though.
That's true, but he'd been in a business. Like, I'll say he's 57.
I want to go with 55.
I can tell you one of you has got bingo! And that is Michael Hamflett, of course.
Of course. So 57?
Yeah.
It's like he's been in wrestling for 58 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just, it was just is he a fraud? Is he someone who just never got it or never understood what he had to offer, and it's all come back around? And the consensus was Jarrett has settled in to the role he was always good at. It just took him more than 2 decades to realize that he's a great, great mid-card stooge, and there's no shame in that. Don't masquerade as a main eventer. You were always super entertaining as a mid-card stooge. And then because he's older and wiser, he can parlay that into, well, I can play that heel who gets off on cheating because I remember how it used to be when it was better. And now it's like, well, I can be a babyface because I'm a grizzled guy with a great working punch and I can stand out. And he just seemed to just get it the past 2 or 3 years. And I used to think he's always had. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have it. I mean, what the was this? What was really annoying about the sheer, like, really ugly extent to which this just completely fell apart was that even though he's basically, it's like a reset, it's like a retcon or reboot, whatever, of MJF, I think he's identified someone who he can be MJF again versus. He felt dialed in, truly.
Yeah.
Like that boom in his voice of, don't you dare interrupt me. Like, I know he does the
growl.
thing where, yeah, the mere hint of someone maybe heckling, he'll pre-plan a sort of retort to the heckler. But, like, there was a bass in his voice, a conviction, the comedic timing. Like, the material was good, the timing was good. He felt like himself again, and then this just turned to absolute rubbish.
So when he says, like, Bud, I don't know why, you always feel, I think, like, oh, here he is. Like, listen, Bud.
It's just like he's gone off that sinister thing.
Going.
He's stopped doing the sinister thing, which I just didn't think suited him at all. And now he just feels like himself again, like just that fake out. He's really great at it. Rage. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I just thought I just thought, for the first 2 minutes, I was feeling it again. And then this is awful.
Yeah, I don't want CM Punk to hit somebody with a guitar on Raw any more than I want Jeff Jarrett to do an inferior version of CM Punk's feud with MJF on Dynamite. This was fine as a escalation of the rivalry. MJF was very good in places. The tone, while completely missed by the Jeff Jarrett retort, was a smart one to take of it's sort of exploring the gap between these two and what MJF thinks he knows will get under Jeff Jarrett's skin.
Yeah, pressing those buttons.
Versus what actually will get under Jeff Jarrett's skin and not realising that until they're kind of deeper into it.
He's gone into the nuclear option, hasn't he?
Yeah. Jeff Jarrett's response was, again, like a diet and nonsensical version of the CM Punk response of the, I'm so disappointed in you, Max. That was electrifying because everybody couldn't wait for that specific reason. And then for Punk to patronise MJF with his disappointment and be like, you have no idea who you're dealing with. Jeff Jarrett's just not that. Babyface or heel. He's neither of those things as a character. He's someone completely different. As he's proven what he's really good at in the roles that, like Sid just talked about with an AEW and the stuff that, like, I've enjoyed and, whatever he's done previously. The kind of, come on, kid, you think this is my first rodeo? Your mom's a whore. Like, that's...
It kind of was his first rodeo.
That's the TLDR of this entire promo. I could have saved 5 minutes while you doing that.
I was like, that's not you at all. Like, to the point where if he was going to do, like, Dustin Rhodes in the backstage promo later on, like, let's be honest, it's barely worth recapping, is it? It's like, we're the last outlaws, and the thing about being a last outlaw is go and be an outlaw and clean the town up from other outlaws. Love you, Jeff. Love you, Dustin. Get him. Like, it's
save me a job.
Whatever. But that was, like, more illustrative of who this Jeff Jarrett character is. Not this, like, sort of wisecracking, Maxi, mum's all. Like, it doesn't scan at all. And Jarrett laughing as MJF delivered his lines. Even Punk didn't do that. Like, the first time that Punk reveals...
Like a wry kind of, okay, that was okay.
What was MJF's, like, big thing, like, sort of, like, it wasn't this, but let's, for example, say, Colt Cabana. Ooh, and Punk's, like, sitting back and absorbing it, and we're all going, ooh, but the reality is Punk's ready to reveal that he's like, I'm not fazed by this in the slightest, mate. That's not Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett laughing at that to reveal, as MJF's talking that this stuff isn't landing, is It's diabolical business, and like Jeff Jarrett knows better, or misguided, misfire, whatever.
Does he?
I think so. Came good at the end, was good at the beginning, really fell apart in the middle. Jarrett stuff, and you could tell.
And this will get remembered as a disaster.
Wasn't
ultimately.
landing with the crowd as well, which made it worse. The one-hit wonder stuff's getting over a bit, but like people in the building,
Wrestling fans are seals.
yeah.
I mean, I am one.
Noise-wise, the fans were telling them that these lines aren't working as well. Like as it was taking place.
What do you think of them going to Owen Hart? Because like we said previously, there's a lot you can go for, and he did. You're a raging recovering alcoholic. Karen Jarrett, obvious thing to go to, and that's no doubt going to be revisited. And then they go for Owen Hart.
MJF never, ever, ever, ever once said anything bad about Owen Hart or said he was a bad wrestler or a bad guy. He used Owen Hart to make Jarrett look bad.
He knew that was the...
He knows the line. He knows the line. He's always known the line.
Best bit of the promo for me, that, because what they
It's
tried...
like, you can't say that. It's like, actually, the way you said it, you can, but you can't.
Well, I thought there was something artful to this that was just lost to how crass a lot of the lines were. And the artfulness for me was, though Jarrett was just too crude and too daft and, corny and all that.
Felt like 100.
What they were trying to get at, which is what Punk was getting at and why this was so inferior compared to it, was honing in on MJF's insecurities by like sort of saying, you think your bluster and your big lines are going to affect me, like you need that because it's all you've got. It just got lost in the messaging. So then MJF feeling gotten to by that, like Jarrett got under his skin. He he won a point there. He's like, well, I'm going to go for your insecurity. And that's that you're kind of like trying to milk that relationship. You tried to milk it last summer to get these people on side, and you're still trying to milk it now to win this title. Like that's a volley back and forth that made sense, but that was lost by then because of the stuff in the middle.
Jeff Jarrett, and he'll probably recover.
I think so.
It's just he went in the space of seconds when I saw his face. I think even the reaction in his face, like he was a bit stumbly bumbly.
Yep.
And I think even he was like, "Oh Christ, this is dying. This is dying." He knows enough to know when he's dying out there. He went from this sort of like timeless, grizzled icon that you kind of happy he's around at a certain spot to a dude who looked like he was 80. Within seconds of that nonsense coming out of his mouth.
That was followed by Christian Cage versus Hook. No messing about. Hook attacks Christian during his entrance. There's a brief stare down with Mother Wayne. Stare at me?
A mother?
Cage tries bailing up the ramp, but gets backdropped over the top into the ring. He tries backing off, begging off, apologizing, hugging Hook, who just obviously turns that into an overhead suplex.
I like that.
He gets sent into the corner. Does Cage take us into a break? When we come back, there's Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne, as well as Katsuyori Shibata. Cage gets sent over the top to the outside.
So funny me that. That's out there.
Hook hits a diving forearm.
Remember that would have stopped the world spinning. Yeah. Remember when it did? We're in the office. Shibata's coming back and he's getting his head kicked off.
It was amazing.
The world's just stopped spinning, apparently, 2025. Shibata's out there trying to run off the patriarchy before any further damage can be inflicted. Trying to even up the numbers game.
Yep.
Hook tries to stamp on Cage's hand on the ring steps, but Cage sweeps the legs out from under and he falls back onto it.
That's awful, that bump. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But it was awful.
They go back inside. 3 frog splashes, gets a near fall. Cage wants a spear, but Hook avoids it. But he does manage to hit it eventually, but Hook kicks out. Hook fights back, though. Clotheslines, throws. There's a fisherman suplex for 2. Gets him with the red rum. But I did like Hook's dad, Taz, on the commentary here. Cage, walks up the ropes to try and break it. Taz just goes, just drop him. And that's exactly what Hook does. He just lets it go. Oh, God! Cage gets out of another attempt at red rum. Posts Hook. Katsuyori Shibata holds off Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian from attacking. But Cage takes him out with a reverse DDT at ringside. Cage wants kill switch, but Hook counters into red rum. And at that point, Cage is like, oh, I can't get out of this. Signals. And of course, in comes Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne to attack for the DQ. And the Patriarchy go to town on poor Hook. They're going to Pillmanize the arm again. Taz is like, oh, God, I'm going to have to leave commentary and sort this out. But thankfully, Samoa Joe returns. Huge pop for him, obviously. Great to see him back. Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne get destroyed. There was a nice spot. I think it was Nick Wayne. One of the two go to jump on him in the corner, and he does the in-ring walk. See you later. Straight into the turnbuckle. And Cage and Nick Wayne's mime, who I should have mentioned, sorry, has got it going on, retreat as Samoa Joe stands tall. Great to see him back.
Yeah, a bit long for me. I'm not one of these people adamant that Samoa Joe's title reign was this big restorative, awesome thing, because it restored nothing and it wasn't even that great.
No.
So
more as a challenger than as a champion.
Yeah, indeed. Here's my unfiltered, my experience of watching this match, rather than attempt to articulate it. Yeah. Another funny bit. It was a long match with some funny bits in.
Yeah.
It was a long match with some funny bits in.
Went to a DQ.
I know I take the old Dick. I know I take the piss out of you, mate, and it's all out of love.
Oh yeah,
like Shayna Baszler's, and you weren't really familiar with AR Fox.
I wasn't. It's true.
I say the same thing all the time, and here's another one, baby. Hook. And it's not as easy as we make it out. Should either leave outright or go on excursion, or do something that isn't wrestle as infrequently as he does, because it ain't getting any better. No matter how many times they try and do the fast track of, you're going to be in there with a super experienced guy who's going to make you look good and you can learn something weird. It doesn't work, hasn't worked, isn't working, won't work.
Christian was too good at being bad here. He wrestled himself.
He did. He's great.
I loved watching Christian here, but and I don't think this was like a selfish performance by any means.
He's so good that it always feels like it, you know what I mean?
He inadvertently exposed our business because he's just like, this is...
Did it with Perry as well, in retrospect.
In retrospect, we didn't think at the time, did we? But yeah, this is like proper broomstick stuff from Christian, proper why you want him on your roster. Love him. I love him for nights like this in a way. But the
love you, Christian Cage. In a way.
But the gulf was simply too big. Yeah. And you could have put out a tackling dummy out there, and Christian would have tried to sell for it. Would have tried to stooge for it, whatever.
And Cook's not that bad, but he's not great.
No, but I think because of how long he's been around now, that's almost, it's again, if this was his first match, you'd forgive all of it and be like, whoa, there's some real flashes of excitement under there in a longer match. Good for Hook. I've been doing this 3 years now. Been at this Hook formula about 3 years.
Still probably worked only about 49 matches or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the wrong company for him.
Yeah. The project
has failed.
Has failed, right, with Hook.
We get a video package, Switchblade Jeb Watt wants his hands on Wheeler Yuta. Undisputed Kingdom want gold as well. Daniel Garcia says, bring it all on.
This mid-card is full of losers and I hate them.
Yeah. I had the exact same thought. I had the exact same thought. I was like, the worst, my distinct thought watching this was, what?
Yeah, I thought that.
The worst part of a really underwhelming Gauntlet last week has now become its own mid-card program. Mm-hmm. What are we doing here? The Undisputed Era, they look like they are even shocked they're still here.
Shocked to be in the system.
It's always the worst vibes and the worst sign imaginable when a professional wrestler portraying his character or their character gets in front of a camera and says, you think we suck? Actually, no, you suck and we'll show you. It's never good, is it?
See you Saturday for not sucking.
It's that's what Aaron Cole said. You're sleeping on us, or you think we're not the same as we were. You think we suck? Well, I think you're
wrong, actually.
You're wrong. So
the wrong boys, you're going to be taking on the not sucks.
And we got this.
I mean, though, it's never good, is it? Never good.
We got this Dustin Rhodes Jeff Jarrett thing, which you expertly summarised.
I just didn't buy it.
And then
the two guys you meant to buy.
Nah. Just the last couple of cowboys riding through cowboy town, which is what I've always called the wrestling business.
And then, sorry, so it's just running through my news.
I do like Murray's pitch dream match of MJF Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
They've shared the same ring before in a trios in the Cody program, but it's a great dynamic.
Yeah.
Running through my notes here, it's time for the one women's match on the show. Imagine predicting this in the first hour. It was the women's casino gauntlet.
How did they won women's match at the casino gauntlet?
I know.
How did they do that?
They sure did.
We're just going to sneak the Royal Rumble on the pre-show.
winner gets a title match at Grand Slam Australia. I was a little bit thrown, to be honest, at the start of all this because I was really confused. Apologies for this. Because Mariah May joined commentary and immediately asked Taz if he wanted to roll around on that new knee. And he said he's happily married. I was like, what is she offering to, like, train him or something?
Like physiotherapy?
Yeah.
No. He's basically, she was asking Taz if he wanted to bum it.
Thanks. Chris Statlander's first out, obviously.
I wish it was.
Then Jamie Hayter. Nice back and forth.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Megan Bain came out at number 3. Mariah May sells this brilliantly. What the hell's she doing here? What did she eat for breakfast? Baby? She's huge, obviously. She just looks awesome in there. She nails Statlander with a big leaping clothesline and a Falcon Arrow for 2. But Jamie Hayter?
Nah, I think she's great.
She breaks it up.
Not very good now.
What if that bit goes all the way? Jamie Hayter? Yeah, actually, sick of it.
Bain no-sells some shots from Jamie Hayter. Tries a suplex, but Hayter reverses into a DDT. Julia Hart came out of 4 and brawled with Jamie Hayter on the ramp. While Statlander and Bain fight around ringside to take us to a break. When we come back, Willow Nightingale in at number 5. They start throwing shots to her and Bain immediately. Statlander come off. They double-team suplex Bain, and then Nightingale and Statlander have a little moment and then just start chopping the crap out of each other.
Terrific. I felt something.
Yeah. That was nice.
Nightingale pounces Statlander as rookie Tony Storm comes out next. Hits some snapmares and shoulder blocks. But Bain launches Storm onto Statlander on the ramp, turns around into a Nightingale missile dropkick. Same for Hart and Hayter. Nightingale wipes out Bain with a dive off the apron and just revels in it. She's great, Willow. Statlander flies off the stage. Storm takes her out with sweet cheap music. Hayter and Hart are just fighting in the ring as Harley Cameron comes in at number 7 to help us feel the wrath. She tries for some pin attempts. Hart avoids Haterade but gets hit with the hate breaker. Cameron nearly steals a pin in amongst all this, but she gets hit with the hate breaker, ducks the Haterade, then gets misted by Julia Hart. There's a thrust kick to Jamie Hayter. Hart looks set to finish Harley Cameron, but Storm slides in and gets a cradle to pin Julia Hart and advance to Australia in the fastest graphic drop you've ever seen in your entire life.
I mean, it is AEW. That's probably faster. I was disappointed by this match, by quite a lot, actually. Again, there was so much of this Dynamite where I'm like, I want to like that bit more. I want to like that bit more. And it was just felt like it was just constantly like not within reach. Like this translucent, like I can see what I want out of this, but I just cannot really see it clearly, you know? Actively bad for the first 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of this, like actively dumb ass stuff. What are these road agents? What are these road agents? I'll tell you later. What are these road agents doing or / talking to one another about? You get, it's AEW, we've been here a long time with this current setup. Like repeated finishes throughout the night. Like endless belt shots. They get obsessed with things and do them, and then they realize, I've been doing that too much, and there's just no cohesion or at times sense within how a lot of these matches, like a lot of AEW matches are wonderful. I'm not an idiot. I'm not, but some of them, even the best ones, are like sort of plagued by like a bad finish or repetitive patterns. Like to the, it's a sudden death match, right? So why, if you got Hayter, Statlander doing that, we are getting the measure of each other, soaking up the crowd reaction ahead of our upcoming 18-minute pay-per-view match. They do axe and smash stuff. Like it's sudden death.
Yeah.
The more people,
And this is the most
enter,
advantageous position you'll be in because there's no.
you literally fought for this last week.
Yeah.
Like, well, one of you did. Start laying into each other and doing flash pins. This needs to be so much more of a sprint. So the amount of posturing, which is terrible, terrible psychology, terrible storytelling. Just because I think it's just a thoughtless this thoughtless sort of infestation of like wrestling tropes and how to tell in-ring stories, and you just applied it with brutal wrongness in the wrong context entirely. Like this Hogan Rock or this like sort of the big epic meeting. Don't do it in this match. It makes no freaking sense. So that really irked me. And look, impressive in a vacuum. Not that amazing, but impressive. The look, the way that Megan Bain carried herself. The dumbest possible way of introducing her. She comes out and she's doing it. I don't blame her for wanting to make that impression. Like, I blame Tony Khan for putting her in the spot because you're going to want to wear something amazing. You're going to want to register who the you are to this crowd and make a grand entrance. She's debuting, so she wants to make a grand entrance, but you don't make an entrance in this match. You get straight into it and try and win. It just felt so fake, so hard to believe. And then what's worse is that I did like a lot of it. Like Willow was great. The Willow and Start stuff was great. The big dive off that unique thing was great. And that just ended. So I kind of hated it and thought it was stupid and was really sort of sad. And then started to get really good. And then when it was really trending in somewhere, I was threatening to explode into something really good. It just ended. I was really cross with this, actually.
It was, I would say, like insultingly short.
Oh, yeah. It was like a fatal, it was like a 6-pack challenge.
Yeah.
As opposed to a gauntlet or
this
however.
wasn't-
How many women were in it?
7, I think.
Yes.
So like get it to double figures. That's piss poor. Like it's the idea that you're establishing parity by like giving the women the same stipulation as the men. We've seen it over and over and over and over again in WWE, and how much do you get to market that and push that? And even when it's not, like even when there's not equality, you can say there is, because look, like everything's the same. This was an opportunity to do that, and you fumbled it massively. This was the one
Or you
Dynamite.
deliberately didn't bother.
It was the one Dynamite women's match with the Casino Gauntlet that just happened to be stapled onto it. This may as well have been
Literally half the time of the men.
yeah,
as well.
and it certainly felt it. Like it may as well have been the weekly singles match. It just happened to have 7 wrestlers in this Gauntlet stipulation.
This is like the more you think about it, the worse it gets. This.
Yeah. The best bit was she's not a fantastic promo, but she's a fantastic guest commentator, and she is better in these soundbite roles. Mariah May was excellent and felt like a champion, felt like a top this division in the commentary booth. So yeah, there was like that was the positive, but this was such an opportunity to flex the hard work you've done in 2024, and they missed it by miles. I felt like I agree with Sidge. The Megan Bain showcase was destined to be as bad as it was good because of what this match existed for.
I really like the look of her though. But as I said, that was
Sure you do, you dirty old bollocks.
the only women's match on this card. So very quickly before we get to the name
Don't
of the
let
game.
him talk to me like that. Or any of my close friends.
Let's get to the aim of the game, Sidge.
The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first entrance theme for the first woman to come out for the only women's match on Dynamite. The idea being here that if we can just nail it to the hour, minute, and second, because this match usually falls in a certain range, and this year it really is, just before that main event, 1 hour 20, 1 hour 25, or even beyond. The idea being you wouldn't even know there's women on this show unless they're being slut-shamed by Jeff Jarrett in the first hour, because it seems to me, or it sure seems to me, like they feel like they are obliged to do it, because if they don't put women's wrestling on, we don't have birds on the show, the bloody wokes will kick off. It's like, yeah, but we don't really want to, do we? Evidently not, Tony, but or Warner or whoever. It's Tony Khan's company. But we have to. Wokes will kick off, won't they? Yeah. But how do we get around this problem where we don't want to do it? We don't want the fans to think we've got bloody birds on the show. I've got an idea. Oh, Eureka! I have got it. Okay, what's your great idea? Well, if we just slip them in before the main event, people will think, well, I've got this for her. If I have to watch the bloody birds, isn't Willow Nightingale like significantly more over than Chris Jericho? Shut up! Okay. We have to put the birds on there before the main event, but if they've made it that far, they'll probably just stick around for the main event. Delightfully devilish, Seymour. And you're thinking, Sidgwick, come on. Mouthful. Can you jinglize what you perceive to be AEW's very cynical thought process? The sexist stuff, really. Behind how they book women? Sure can. Here's the jingle. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is, well, let's just ladies' night. And I'm thinking, oh, what a night. I'm sorry, son.
Thanks as always to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11. The guys who always take care of the
data
for this sort of thing. Thank you very much. Sidge, do you want to run us through the guesses we made yesterday on the preview in descending?
Descending?
Sure do. Sure do. You shall make me feel like love.
That's some quality 90s dance pop, that's it.
I like dance music from the 90s. Great deal,
Strike,
actually.
that was.
Mm-hmm.
Down, 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 down. In descending, Michael Sidgwick, moi, 33 minutes and 59 seconds. Michael Hamflett, no hours, 55 minutes, 0 seconds. Adam Wilbourn, I don't know you from Adam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And the Panda Blair reveals 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Why you not going on a 1 hour 30 when you got the world title in the main event, Tony? You me?
Me?
Which, let's just check the scores for 2025.
What? It's a gauntlet. There is no end to this match, theoretically, right? Your wrestlers are in a massive queue backstage, right? It's gone 35 minutes. That's the end of TV Team and our overrun.
TV Team.
And our overrun. Well, I guess John Moxley, you'll have to wait until Collision.
I hate the overrun because it's got rid of TV time remaining. The actual principle that this is like a show where it could go wrong, really. It could end in a way that's anticlimactic, but that's TV time and that's wrestling, buddy. Nah, it's not that. No, not anymore.
Get him out of there. Wow.
So no correct guesses for the year for you, Michael Hamflett, or you, Michael Sidgwick, but 2 for me. This is officially a streak. And thank you to Matt Rains, who pointed out I'll probably have Ladies' Night wrapped up by June this year. It's a real simple system that I'm working with, and it's worryingly accurate.
Yeah.
It's sort of a game within a game in a way. And you're winning that team. It's just an entire division that's losing.
Everybody wins, but the ladies, of course.
But yes, just time to squeeze in the main event of the evening. Jon Moxley versus Powerhouse Hobbs for the AEW World title. Moxley comes in from the cold, snowy Cincinnati night.
Cool visual.
It was cool.
There's some cool visuals. Yeah.
Was it cool, Tony?
That's cool.
Thanks. Claudio and Pac run distraction to allow Mox to get the upper hand. Then they brawl into the crowd and they head back into the ring. Mox takes over in the corner. There's a punches, but he's trash talking. He's taunting. And that just pisses Hobbs off. And he drives Moxley to the corner and he bites at his ear, trying to bite off his earring. As we go to a break, when we come back, he appears to have succeeded because Hobbs now has Moxley's blood over him. And Jon Moxley's ear and shoulder and body's just covered in blood.
Yeah.
At a glimpse, you'd think it was like red kinesio tape, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It was just a splatter of blood that
It's
lived
great, this.
Yeah.
Not the match, that thread.
there. Yeah.
Mox, I think, hits him with a cutter to reset it all. There's a forearm exchange. Moxley takes the ref, and that allows Marina Shafir to get in some cheap shots. They go back inside. Jon wants the Death Rider, but Hobbs overpowers him. Big lariat. There's a series of clotheslines and a world's strongest slam in there for 2 from Powerhouse Hobbs. There's also an avalanche power slam, but Moxley uses the momentum, rolls through, cross arm breaker. Hobbs gets to the ropes. Moxley takes the ref again, and that allows that little weasel Wheeler Yuta to slide in for a Busaiku knee and then just scream.
I like the scram. Good scram. Good scram.
Mox wants a Death Rider, but Hobbs hits a desperation spine buster.
Triple H teaching the tough enough class about how to, he brings DX in. Hey, Billy Road Dogg, show him a good scream.
Hobbs lowers the straps and then wants a torture rack, but Mox gets him with a choke. Again, takes the ref, and that allows Marina Shafir to smack Hobbs with the briefcase. Mox hits it.
The briefcase.
Briefcake.
Oh, I'd love a slice of briefcake. Mox hits the Death Rider, but Hobbs kicks out at 2, so Mox just chokes him out to give the win to Jon Moxley. And obviously, post-match, all the Death Riders come in. Hobbs fights him off briefly, but the numbers game catches up to him. Claudio grabs a chair, targets the previously injured leg. They rip the brace off, Pillmanize it, take turns smacking the leg. And once he's definitely out, Where were you guys? You'll never guess who came down to make their save ahead of this 12-man on Collision, Sidge. Bloody rated FTR to chase off the Death Riders.
Thank God they got there just in time before they killed him. Like,
Gotta get my pop.
where's the line?
What if, like, they were like, oh, there's a problem with the button. Do you need your music, Cope? I don't go out there without Alter Bridge, goddammit.
Or he's there going, not yet. Right, they've crippled him. Okay, let's go.
It's like the Vampiro thing.
It's the Vampiro.
Vampiro from Triple Mania. Look, I would describe this match as it was kind of like cursed / flawed before you got into it, just because of the dumbass decision to announce that 12-man and the idea that they've lined up loads of challenges and Mox is the real, Cope's the real guy he's feuding with, and just it had very, very little chance to succeed. So it could never be a great match. I don't think it was a great match. What a great thread with the ear and the blood. And again, it was like that translucent quality of like, I can see what I want out of this promotion. It's just, I cannot see the vision.
Yeah, the wrong, like everything felt wrong. Like this shouldn't have been in Cincinnati. You needed 100% babyface crowd for Hobbs to help this along. And then even then, in putting over the blood, which I completely agree with Sidgwick, like, that's the Moxley. It's kind of babyface hard, isn't it? It's like, I'm dead hard. Like, I've got this thing, this like big flashing target. Like, I'm still winning. I'm still a badass. It's a bit like Moxley gets everything again. This was
gets the TV time.
like that match at Daly's was unfairly maligned because of the injury. But as Sid just pointed out before, it wasn't very good before that. These don't have good chemistry, and unfortunately, I don't think they ever will. Like, this was the opportunity, I think, to find that camp, to locate it. Stakes were high. The building was hot. Like, the title's on the line. There was every opportunity here to sort of make them feel like they're getting somewhere together and they're not. Like, a lot of this match, when you boil it down, was like that training school match, wasn't it? Like, everything happens in a certain order.
Yeah.
Like, the babyface gets that early shine, the heel takes over, possibly with a bit of cheating, and then you sort of you pick the body part and then you head towards the finish. It rarely veered, but how every wrestling match works is that the wrestlers make you forget they're doing that with their own unique stylings, and these two didn't, and they never really wrestled out of that formula. They got me once. I did like the Hobbs kick out, and I was allowed to hope for just a second, and then Moxley crushes that hope, and that's not a dig. That's what the dominant heel is supposed to do. It's the worst thing in the company because the stuff that's bad and boring or whatever doesn't matter as much. This matters loads. So that's why the Death Riders remains the worst thing in AEW.
They're probably worried about that 6-man, hence why they took out Powerhouse Hobbs.
The run-in being as late as it was
criminal.
Just lame. Just get out there straight away.
Like, we all know what's coming because you've got the match on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just like, it used to be the most like thoughtful, detailed promotion that I can remember watching, right? Now it's like almost completely absent-minded. You're forgetting the basics, man. How can you win without doing the basics? Track back.
They're in training like now, early hours, like the first thing in the morning, back in training.
Track back, fight your duels, and it's the basics. You're not going to win if you're going to do your basics.
The individual, we always use the example of the no invisible camera wall thing. Just as good as that, in the same sort of vein, is the individual one after another. Like, sort of, like, here comes another heel. Right now, that justifies one more babyface evening. Another heel's arrived. Now it's just like 5 of them kicking and it's like, should we do something about this?
Yeah.
Wait till the music, lads. Like,
you need a good arrangement of things to then play around with it. There's no arranging.
Well, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts.
Jericho's going to target Hobbs' injured leg, and that's that for 6 months. Thanks, Powerhouse.
They've already done.
Big Bill might do some funny taunting, though.
Yeah. They've already done Jericho Hobbs, and it didn't get Hobbs over because Jericho knows what he's doing. Why isn't Jericho selfless doing that job for Hobbs? Yeah, sure I am. I'm kind of great, actually.
But we'll review it on Monday.
Sure will.
Feeling a bit poorly actually now. Let us know your thoughts on AEW Dynamite in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all 4 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow producer Adam Nicholas at...
It's Adam Nicholas.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.